Hello everyone and welcome to So Many Games to Little Time. My name is Joachim and today we'll be playing Fractal Beyond the Void. Now, what is Fractal? There is a very short introduction. Welcome to Fractal. In Fractal, each player commands an emerging galactic empire competing for resources, prestige, and power. The game consists of 2 ages, each divided into 2 cycles, during which players take turns performing actions with their units, colonies, and technologies. After each cycle, players resolve conflicts and collect income. After each age, players evaluate their empires and score victory points. The player with the highest score at the end of the last age wins the game. So, I am going to play against 2 AI opponents. Now, I will explain the game, but in kind of like a rushed version, maybe not rushed, but not extremely into detail because it's supposed to be a playthrough. At the end, I'll also tell you how I feel about it. Might be actually a second or third video. We'll see how when I share my opinions. It'll be in the description if I do and when I do it. So what actually happens in Fractal? Well, there's different phases. The first phase, we have the income phase, where we will gain a number of credits, and that is determined by the productive track. As you can see, I am VAX117, has nothing to do with the pandemic, and I will start with 3 credits. So if we have the income phase now, I'll just go up to 3. The AIs, they don't really care about credits. What happens to them when they build it, I'll explain later. But credits are really important. Then you have trigger exploitation. These are these living galaxies, these 3 here. At one point, we'll flip them over during the game when we discover them, and then they will have certain benefits. If you meet the requirements, you can get whatever it offers. And then trigger any during income phase effects and unexhaust all exhausted components. I have to say, I haven't seen much of that during the income phase this or exhausted. I haven't. In my games that I played, maybe the tech just hasn't come out, maybe something like that. Whatever. Anyway, action phase. That's the next phase, and that's where, of course, the game shines together with the conflict phase. But in the action phase, you will always do 2 actions. You have to, unless you have the technology that allows you to do 1 action per turn. But you have to do 2 actions. And these are your options. You have 6 actions that you can do. And each action will cost you 1 credit. So of course, let's say I'm at 3 credits and I do my 2 actions. At the end of my turn, I'll be at 1 credit. Okay. Now, even if you reach 0, there's ways to go around that because, okay, let's just say you have the icon here. That means credit, right? And let's say I've already done 2 actions. I do this action now. I spend another credit, and then I want to do advanced, let's say. Now, I can't pay the credit. But what you can then do is depletion. That means you flip it to its red side and you put it at 2. That means at the end of the cycle, so when everyone has done everything and we have even fought and everything, at the end of everything, you will have to pay influence here to make this available again next round. If you don't pay, these actions that are red like this will not be available. Now you can see 4 numbers. You have 0, 1, 2, 3. That's because this cost can go up or go down depending on your faction or depending on the technology that you have acquired. For example, I don't know if there's anything out here right now. Not really, but for me it says here, removing a depletion from your research action costs 1 less. So everything will be 2, but if I have research, if I deplete that, it would just be 1. So it's always going to be easier for me to research than, or at least cheaper for me to research than other people. All right, so that is how you do an action. You just pay for it and then you do it. Now let's go over the actions. You have recruit. It's very easy to explain. You just choose one of the icons on your military track, and that is what you produce. So at one point, I just have either 1 light ship, which are these guys, or 2 ground troops, which are these guys. All right. So as I expand and build more colonies or banish them, banish means you remove it from the game, I reveal more of these icons. So if let's say I build another one, I can then choose either I build 1 mech so these guys, or I build 2 light ships because now I have +1 here, so that's 2, or I build 2 troops. Can now have a combination of units, okay? Then I remove another one. Now I can choose to build 3 troops, 1 warship, which is these big guys, or 1 mech, or 2 light ships. If I upgrade again, I can build 2 mechs, or 3 light ships, or 1 warship, or 3 ground troops. So obviously, if you're planning on fighting a bunch, you would want to make sure you get a lot of military colonies out. There's stuff in the middle that I'll explain later on after I've explained every action. So basically, when you recruit, you just take your units that you've chosen and you put it where you have colonies. Now, there's also a technology upgrade that will allow you to place them wherever you have units, which of course is very handy. Now, even if you have enemy units in your sector, well, let's say this one, then you can still recruit. However, if the total number of enemy units is 4, it doesn't mean for one faction, it can be a combination of 2 or 1. If there's 4, then there will be a blockade, and then you will put this here, and then you can no longer recruit in that area until maybe this one moves away again, then the blockade would be gone. All right. So that is something to keep in mind. It's a good way, of course, to block someone from creating units there and strengthening their position. There we go. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. And also, at one point, if you run out of units in your reserve, you can always just take a unit off the board and then place it where you want it to, because you're just giving up a unit, so to speak. All right. And that can be any unit. Even if a unit is stuck for any kind of reason, you can still remove it. Okay, but you can only do that if you don't have enough units available, obviously. All right. The next action is advance. So once again, you move it up, you pay a credit, and then you can move your units. Now for advance, you have to look at 2 spaces. You have to look at imperial, you have to look at scientific. Imperial move means you can move 2 space units. What are space units? Space units are either light ships or warships. Those are your 2 space units. Now, there is technology out there that can make your mechs space units, okay? But normally a mech is a ground unit or ground troop, and these infantries are also ground troops, okay? Now, you can move 2 space units. So if I look at my base, that means I can move this one and this one because it says 2. Now, the upgrade is 3, 4, 5. And it just says 4, sorry. It's with the AI that goes up. So it goes up all the way up to 4. Okay, there's another upgrade that I'll explain later. So, all the way up to 4. Now, how far can you move? For that, you look at scientific. You look at the bottom track. So you see 1 hex here and 2 hexes here. So the moment, because I start with scientific, I already unlocked this, my 2 spaceships can move up to 2 hexes. So I could do 1, 2, for example, and 1, 2. All right, that's perfectly legal. These light ships, they can also transport 2 units, so either 2 ground troops, so 2 infantry, or an infantry and a mech, or 2 mechs. Okay. The warships, they can transport 3 ground troops, so any combination of mechs and infantry. Okay, so they can take them with them. Now, obviously, you see these cards here everywhere, like these ones, right? They are called obstacles and anomalies, right? So when you reach these, you'll flip them over, and then you will look at what they potentially do. So let me take the stack. Let's take one here in the middle. For example, military invention. If you arrive there and you have a mech, then you get 1 influence. Or you can destroy a light ship and get 1 influence, all right? Now, you have to get rid of that card. Otherwise, you cannot build a colony. All right. So only when the card is gone, you get to build a colony. So the red ones, they're fairly simple most of the time. The brown ones, they are more difficult because when you do them, you get a artifact. Okay. Now, luckily, we start with the Delverar. They start the game with a artifact, so I can show you two of them, because the first one is not usable for them, so I can show you the one that was discarded. Is the Rashid Stone. Yeah, Rashid Stone. It says, during the action phase, whenever you place an action card face down, gain 1 extra influence or science. Okay, it doesn't make much sense, but that is pretty good depending on your faction. But they can't do anything with that. So they instead have the defense algorithm, which means they can immediately replace their ground defense tactic with its elite version. If it's already upgraded, it will upgrade something else, which once again, I haven't explained yet, but it's also very good. So these artifacts, they're pretty powerful in general, and there's 3 on the board. They happen to be pretty close to me, but I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, because I like to expand early, and these ones are very difficult to expand on. They're actually called mystery sectors, while the green ones are biodiverse sectors, and the red ones are arid sectors. Okay. If you want to colonize, talk about it later, you need to have one of these guys, because they have their, is it the colonize keyword that they have? Specifically, is it that obvious? Yes, they have the colonize keyword. So you need those guys if you want to build colonies. But once again, you have to get rid of the cards first. There is a way that people can block you. For example, if there's a ship here and you fly with your ship here, you will get stuck. You will get pinned down. So they won't let you pass. However, if you then move this ship, you can pass through because there's only one ship. If there are 2 ships there, then this one will also get stuck. All right. So that's one way of stopping people from flying through. Once again, there is tech where your ships ignore pin down, for example, or action cards we'll talk about later. So that is a very big rule for advance as well. But very important to remember, Imperial tells you the number of space units you can move, and Scientific tells you how far they can move. You also have these storms here. They'll move around. Now, before you say anything, yes, these are very difficult to recognize. Well, not very, but they're the same color scheme. They should have had some kind of different color, because now it's a bit difficult to easily see. But they, of course, block certain areas so you can't go through. So you can move 2 space units. So what you cannot do is, let's say, okay, I'm moving this guy here, and then I'm moving this guy again. No. Once you've moved the unit, it can no longer move on that turn. Next turn, when it's your turn again, it can move again, but not on the same turn. Okay? So that's it. Then we can talk about colonize, which is the next action. So you're going to be colonizing a lot, because that way you can reveal certain parts of the tracks, and then you also automatically get stronger. Now, before I talk about colonize, I want to talk about research first. That way I've talked about most of the tracks, and then I can talk about all the bonuses and everything else. So when you do research, you just once again flip it up, you move it up, you pay a credit, and then you spend research. So here on the top left of the scientific track, it says 1 research, and then it says 2 research. You always do whatever the rightmost one says. So where 2 research, the 1 is not added. Okay, you just ignore it. I have 2 research to spend. So I have 2 of these. They're double-sided. One side is 3, the other side is 1. So now I have 2 research to spend. And I can spend it on this track here of all these different technologies. You can see on a technology card on the top left, it says how expensive it is. So 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. The next card will always be 3 to 5. In this case, it's a 5. And the last card will always be a 7. All right. And that's for each stack the case. So obviously you want to upgrade your science track if you want to do a lot of science, because 2 becomes 3 and 3 becomes 4, which of course can ramp up quite quickly. And these technologies give you a lot of nice stuff. Now, how do you spend this? Well, for example, I could put both of them here, and then at the end of your action, you can then just put it back, take the card, and it's now your technology. Now, you can also just separate it. You can say, okay, I have 2 ones. I'll take both of these, please. And then you get both of them. Okay. Or if it's higher, you just put it there and then you're building for the future. All right. So that is the research action. You just put it on there and then you take it. What the cards do, I'll explain when I've explained everything else. All right. Because otherwise some of them will not make a lot of sense. So the research action, as you continue to research it, your ships will be able to fly farther and you have more research to spend. For example, the last spot is 4 research and 3 hexes. So for example, if I had 3 hexes, I could just jump all the way to here. Not through, because there's a storm here. So I could go toot toot. And with this smaller map, it's quite an advantage. Okay. I guess that's also naturally brings me to the map. With the map here, the way it's constructed, this is a small, compact map. You also have a bigger map, which I tend to play with new players because it gives them time to slowly ease in. We're not in each other's face in the first round. Well, there's a chance here that in the first cycle, I should say, we might already be fighting. In the other map, we definitely will not. So it depends. But of course, a bigger map means a longer game. So that's up to you, of course. Depends how much confidence you have in people getting the game right away, understanding it, and being able to be, competitive from the jump. Anyway, so that was research, nothing more there. Oh, I should also say, for example, let's say I don't have the research tokens here because I left them in the box. But let's say I was here, and then the Delverar, the blue guys, they researched this and they basically snatch it away from me. They put 2 down, I only have 1. Well, they get the research, but then mine just drops down 1. Okay, so it just stays there. I'm building towards the next card. But this will stay face down until the next cycle. All right, so it will not be face up until the end of the first round, so to speak. Now, if there's no card left, if the 7 is done and mine was here, they just disappear. Okay, so sometimes it is a little bit of a competition to try to get to the juicy technologies first. Of course, in the first round, that's rather easy. It only becomes more difficult in the, it becomes more competitive in the second and third, fourth round because they will be more expensive, of course. All right, anyway, that is science. Then next is colonize. All right, so if we colonize, we first of all need to be somewhere where we can colonize. Now you see here these non-habitable spaces. They have a space for a colony, but you cannot, you can see it here, place a colony there unless you have the required technology. And lo and behold, it is right here. It is called the orbital colony. You can colonize non-habitable sectors, which are these 3 blue ones, with non-productive colonies. That means any colony, but not productive, not the yellow track. All right, so they can't make money for you, but you can do other stuff there. All right. So anyway, so for colonize, you need to have a person with you, a troop. So let's say I go here and I was able to remove this card and I'm now available to build there. I can't just choose what I want because every tile has some icons on it that tell you what you can build there. In this case, I can build science or I can build military. But if I look here, it is science or imperial, which is the gray track on the top. If I look here, productive sector, I can only produce money. Okay, and it's like that for each tile. They have their different requirements. Here in the middle, the utopian sector, you can also build and it's productive. Now, if you play on a bigger map, this will not have a colony option there. All right. So, this brings me to the bonuses, because as you're building colonies, oh, by the way, you can always build, before I do that, you can always build if you have majority. So let's say there's a ship here. It doesn't matter. I have control, majority, so I can build a colony. However, had there been 2 ships, then it is a tie, so I can't build a colony now. And once again, remember, you need to have a unit with the colonize keyword, and that is, the infantry is the only ones who have it. Okay, so we're there now, right? So we build a colony, and then you remove it, and if there is an icon, like for example, Imperial here, now an icon has no neighbors anymore, it's free, it's open, then you get this colonization bonus. In this case, it's easy, it's just 1 influence, all right? If you continue, it's going to be 2 influence, and then at the end, it's 1 more influence, and then there's another upgrade here, which I'll talk about later. That's not a colonization bonus. For productive, it's just money and money, all right? For science, it's 2 science, and then if you manage to build the last colony or banish it, you get a artifact. So you just top deck the artifact deck, and that is what you get. Then for military, you can upgrade one of your military tactics, which is here, which I'll talk about later. And then also at the end, you can upgrade your mastery, which in this case for me is robotic infantry. And I can just flip that card over, my heroic trait. I can flip that card over, and then it's more powerful. For example, my robots, my foot soldiers, my infantry gain a resist 1 ability, which means they can absorb 1 hit. Anytime you would add any number of units or infantry to the board, you only add 1. But if I flip it, it says immediately replace any tactic with its elite version. So I can upgrade one of my tactics. And also, it's still just resist 1. So basically, when I upgrade, I just get a free elite tactic. All right. So, all right. So that is that one. Those are the upgrades that you can get, the colonization bonus, sorry. Next, we have action cards. So you flip it up, you can see the icon has 2 cards. You can play 2 cards on your turn, on your round maximum. Watch out. When you play the second card, your round will end. You pass. You will not do anything anymore for the remainder of your round. So make sure that you know when to pass. When you play the card, it's done, it's over, it's done and dusted, okay? So, however, your first card, you can play whenever you want. So you look at these 4 available cards, you choose one to play, you take it, put it next to your board, somewhere, and then a new card is revealed. Of course, you do what it says on the card, and you move it up. What I tend to do to remember that I did it is I flip it to the red, and then do it again to make sure, okay, I've done it now. I've done it twice now, okay? Now, what do some of these cards do? For example, gain 1 influence for each type of colony you have on the board and move 1 storm around. So basically it's a maximum of 4 influence. I'll talk about how good influence is or what it's used for later. At the end of the cycle, if you have at least 4 units in a sector adjacent to an enemy colony, you may invade that colony. Trigger a battle resolution, including a siege in a contested sector of your choice. Gain 1 medal. These are all things I haven't talked about yet, but anyway. And then move a light ship 2 sectors away, ignoring pin down these things, the living galaxies and the storms. So you can just fly wherever you want with one ship, okay? Which can be useful if everyone has passed already, and then you play that card and suddenly you can invade someone's colony or whatever. Or just, discover something and so on. Okay, so that is the action. You play 2 action cards. There's, once again, technologies or upgrades, because the last upgrade of the Imperial track means you can play a 3rd card, okay, which is nice. You can also play 2 cards on your turn, by the way. It doesn't have to be once only. I think that I should mention that as well. When you play one of these actions, you can only do them once per turn. So you can't recruit twice, okay? You can't go back and back up again. No, you only go down at the start of your new turn. All right, so you have the government action. That's the last one I have to talk about. So at the start of the game, your faction will have 2 government cards. This is the one that I chose, Meritocratic Society. That means during the game, during each cycle, I can do 1 government action. In this case, it says for each 3 influence, I can add 1 infantry or 1 light ship to a sector with my units. So if I have 9 influence, I can add 3. So influence is very important in that case. And also, like I already mentioned, at the end of the cycle, removing a lock from your research action depletion costs 1 less influence, which is also really good because you don't want to spend too much influence because you want to use it for your government action, right? So that's what that action means. So that's what you're going to be doing the whole time. You're going to be spending credits, doing actions, trying to do as much as possible before the cycle ends, okay? Is there anything that I have missed? I haven't talked about the technologies yet. I haven't talked about the next phase yet. So let's talk about the next phase first. After everyone, the first person who passes will get the Watcher token, which is this one, all right? Now, getting the Watcher token because you pass first is cool because during the conflict phase, you can recruit 1 ground troop or a ship sorry, I should say one infantry or a ship for free, and you can put it wherever you want to put it. Or you can perform one single movement order, which means you can move one unit basically. And then you place battle medals wherever there's a fight. So for example, if there was a ship here, we would put a battle medal here, battle medal here to signify we're going to be fighting for this. All right. And then you resolve battles in every sector with battle medals. And then you also receive the sieges when it's necessary and claim medals. So first of all, let's say we are fighting here. And we are not playing with an AI because AI plays a bit different. I look at all the cards that I have, right? So at the moment I have one light ship and one ground troop. And I remove all the cards that I can't use. So but let's first look at the cards themselves. On the top left is initiative. So it's initiative 4. It's really high, it's really bad. Okay. And then it says trigger only one of the following compositions. So I choose one of these 3. Either I destroy a ship and I do 2 hits. I get to choose who I hit. Or my infantry shoots, but they get to choose where the 2 hits go. Or I kill my infantry and 3 of their units retreat. They choose who retreats. Okay. If I have the tech upgrade EMP drones, which are not available at this point, then I could also do a nuclear token, which means I just choose any unit, enemy unit, and it's destroyed. Now, I can do this because I have 1 ship and 1 ground troop. Now, orbital assault, I cannot do because I have to have at least a minimum of 2 ships. So this will be discarded. Planetary strike, you need to have a warship. I don't have that, will be discarded. Ground assault, I need 1 ground troop at least at the minimum. So I do have that, so I could use that. Orbital defense. This card you just play to make, if you think, okay, they're going to play a card with a lot of hits and a lot of skulls. If I do this, the damage will be blocked and their units will run away for each damage I block. So it's a purely defensive card. Then ground defense, same thing, but different icons. Heavy fire, you need to have a mech. I don't have a mech. And then retreat, you always keep this one. Retreat all your units, place 1 technology on a military technology. So basically you're just kind of like checking them out and learning from them. So basically I have 5 cards to play. So the way the battle happens is really straightforward. For example, let's say I choose flanking and my opponent chose ground assault, right? Let's face down, you reveal, you then check initiative. Okay, they have 3, I have 4, they go first. They shoot me. In this case, let's say that they had a ground troop, right? Okay, let's say the ground troop shoots and it's 2 retreats. I have no protection against that, so I retreat back to here. Because when you retreat, it has to be either an empty space where there's nothing or your colonies, okay? And you have to go to the nearest one. You can't just go wherever. So always closest to your colonies. So I retreat and they win because I had to run away. My flanking doesn't happen because they went first and they were able to get rid of me. So they get the battle medal, it goes on their board and the combat is over. Okay, it's as simple as that. If you have the same initiative, then both attacks happen. So it can lead to mutual destruction, as you can see. All right, so it can even be that, by the way, we have a 3-way battle. That's perfectly possible. Then whenever you resolve your card, you get to choose where the damage goes. Okay, depending on the icons, the other person might still get to choose which unit takes the damage, but, you know, it is what it is. Units also have like keywords like support and courage and veteran and so on. But when those come up, I will talk about it. All right. That's also in the rule book. So I don't want to spend too much time on all that. But that's basically how battle works. Now, very important detail. Let's say we were fighting here over a colony, right? We're fighting. They win. I lose. So they lose, let's say, a ship and an infantry, and my guys are dead, right? Then After you've resolved this battle, you check if a siege can happen. At this point, a siege cannot happen. Even though this guy has the invade keyword together with the colonize, it cannot invade because you need at least 2 units to invade. So it could be 2 guys, that's perfectly fine. Or it could be this and 1 ship, or that one and a mech, or that one and a warship. It doesn't matter, strength of 2. There's technology that makes your colonies more difficult to invade. You need 3 units then instead of 2. But at this moment, it didn't come out. So at this point, they can invade. But they have 2 options when they basically do a siege. Sorry, they can siege. They either are going to raise it. So when they raise it, their enemy colony is removed and they get 1 military victory point. Okay, so in this case, with AI, they just get a point. If it were me, I would just put my 0 up to a 1. All right. As you can see, the maximum of these dice is 5. So you cannot get more than 5 points. But that's one way to get military points, by raising or invading. If you have invade, instead of destroying it, you simply remove it and then you put your own there. It has to be the same. Basically, you're replacing it. Okay, you're taking over the building. All right. Okay, and you still gain 1 military victory point as well. So those are good moves to try to get not only victory points for military, but also just to expand or weaken your opponent. Because you don't have that many units and it's difficult to defend all your different colonies, your territory, right? So it's very easy to backdoor someone and then take colonies away. And then especially if you hit them where it hurts, the money, then it can really hamper their actions for the next round. Okay, so after that has done, we've done all the sieges, we've done all the battle medals. Then we do the end of the cycle and we do a prestige check. We look at all the factions and we look at how many battle medals everyone has. You get 1 influence per player that you have more influence as. So for example, if Delverar has 1, Boroka has 2, and I have 3, I would get 2 influence because I have more than Boroka and I have more than Delverar. Boroka, who has 2, would get 1 influence because they have more influence than Delverar. They only have 1. Delverar would get nothing because they have the least of everyone. Okay, so that's another way of getting influence. All right. And that brings me to something that I always forget to say. When you play an action card, you don't have to play it face up. You say, I don't like this card at all. Then you can just flip it down. You will get 1 influence and also 1, I always say vision, but it's not vision. It's a different term. Basically, it means you can look at any face down component on the board. You can look at a card. You can look at these things. You can look here. You can look at the top 3 here and then put them back in any order. You can look at the top here, anywhere you want. You can look at a whole stack of these guys and then put them back, just 1 stack. All right. Insight, that's it, insight. Okay, that's something you can do. It's another way to get influence. Because remember, this artifact said whenever you play an action card face down, gain 1 extra influence or research. So that brings me to another thing. Whenever you get a research through any other means than the research action, then you put a research token on, for example, here, but even if it's here for a 1, you don't get it. You can only get this if you when you eventually do a research action, then it can get activated. You can only take technology at the end of your research action, not just when you happen to get stuff. All right. Okay. So, like I said, prestige check, that's done. You check the utopian reward because here there's going to be something special. All right. And that depends on whatever it says. Like if you might be like kill a unit and get 1 victory point, something like that, or get a victory point for each 3 locations you occupy. Those are 2 examples. I don't know which one it is. I guess we'll see. There's several of them, like 6 or 7, I think. And then we clean up. We flip all face down visible technologies. So the ones that were face down, like for example, if it's like this, at this point, we would flip the 3. All right. We have to pay for all the depletion. All right. And then the watcher. So let's say I was the watcher. Then I have to choose a new player and I can't choose myself. So most of the time I would then choose Boroka because then I'll be 2nd player. But it's also a good idea to be last player, because that means that you can react, well, the chance is higher that you'll be able to react to everybody else until the end and maybe have the last move as well. Okay, and then we just move the cycle marker, and then we start the next one. These are also all removed, and 4 new ones come out, and then that's it. Okay. So I think that's just about it. If anything, if I have forgotten anything, then that will come up later. I think one more thing that I can say about these battle cards is that each card has an upgrade, and it just becomes stronger, or you get more abilities. For example, when you play ground defense, it's not just those icons and people running away anymore, but after all the tactics are resolved, I can actually take one of the tactics I used before and put it in my hand. Because when you play a tactic, it just stays there. It doesn't go away. So people know that you are limited. Because in the battle example, I should have also shown, like, if you only have like 4 cards, at one point, if you can no longer play a card, you lose. Okay? So that's also important. You don't want to run out of cards. Which is possible, depending on certain game effects and everything, that you might not have your retreat card in your hand. So that would be bad, of course. Okay, so before we can start, I'm going to go over the technology cards and also what this thing here does. And I think we're set. So the way you win the game by getting the most amount of points. Now you can get these victory points you have here, the stack. You might get them through cards or other ways. That's possible. But most likely, you're going to get most of your points, like let's say 90% chance, you're going to get all the points from here. So they all go up to 5. And I already talked about the military victory points. The other 4 victory points you get from here. Okay, in this case, the sound of the war wind. So after the second cycle, and we go to the V here, then we check, what's it called again? We do the transition. So we score. For example, Imperial means you need to have 1 Imperial colony, all right, on the board. Now it's good news for Barocca because they already have 1. So at this point, they have 1 point. If they manage to get 2, they get 2 points. Manage to get 3, they get 2 points. If they have 4, they get 2 points. So you can only score double once. Then productive, you need to have productive colonies. In this case, you have 1, you get 1 point. 2, you get 2 points. Scientific, you need to have military research. So if you have 1 research, you get 1 point. You have 2, you get 2 points. And then exploration, you have this icon. And I wonder what that is. That actually means arid sectors. So I can see it here. Yeah. So you need to have control of those, which is annoying for me because they're literally all with the Delverar. And one is in the middle of Delverar and Barocca. That's super far away. So it's going to be difficult for me to score that. Then after we have scored all these, then we move to the 3rd cycle. But before we do, we would flip over this level 2 and it will add some more things here and a special rule to the game. And then you suddenly score 2 points or 4 if you do it twice. So it could be like, okay, you need to have a Imperial colony and 3 ships. Or you need to have credits and civic technology or whatever. So there's can be a bunch of combinations that will happen then. So yeah. Okay, let's take a look at the technology cards. First of all, we have invasion pods. So during the siege, your light ships and warships gain the invade ability. Now, when you take over a colony, like I said, you need to have one of these guys because they have invade. But with this technology, suddenly your light ships can also invade. So it's perfectly possible that if there's a colony here and I have 2 ships, I can take over the colony. Okay? Because I have the invade keyword. Then we have the dual blasters, which means improve your orbital assault tactic. Like I said, it would be at the bottom where you can do something. Then we have subkinetic rifles, means improve your ground assault tactic. Photon torpedoes, improve your orbital assault tactic. So just for an example, I'm going to show you orbital assault because it has 2 upgrades here. So for example, the dual blasters will allow my ships, like 2 ships, to hit twice. Okay. Even if I have 3 ships, then this will still activate. if I have photon torpedoes, I can actually shoot before resolving the tactic cards. But the opponent gets to choose where it hits. And that's what I really like, especially when you then, so it's a skull, right? But if you then look at the upgrade for orbital assault, then they become hits. It becomes a hit instead of a skull, all right? So it's way more powerful. It's good to take something out before you even start fighting. So that's the military research or technologies. Then we have the civic ones. We have the optronic computer. After you perform a research action, gain 1 influence, which is not bad for me, to be honest, since normally I should be researching a lot. And if I do an action, once again, the influence is pretty good. Then we have orbital colony. You can colonize non-habitable sectors with non-productive colonies, which is also nice because there's not a lot of areas. Getting this one, being able to build something there would be a positive thing. Research labs. After you develop 1 or more technologies, place 1 influence on a slot where you develop the card. So you're basically already researching a future tech. And then here, cybersecurity link. Inflict 1 retreat to enemy units in 2 different contested sectors with your colonies. But that's start of the conflict phase. So basically you make 2 units run away before the fight even happens. Okay. All right, then we're just about ready to start. The only thing I haven't talked about yet is why are there 3 guys here? And of course the AI. Well, there are some artifacts, and they would allow you to get like 3 veteran ground units or 2 mechs. Now, if I get 3 ground units, that's nice. But what if Boroka gets them too? They're just black. So to differentiate, I would then take one of these 3 if somebody else gets it, so we can see the difference. And even if you play with 4 players, then you can just use tokens. There's tokens in the box of the color that you can put underneath your units. I don't think it's necessarily meant to be used that way, but it's one way of, being able to tell them apart from each other when they, for example, fight each other or something. Okay, then let's talk a little bit about the AI. It's very simple. I'll also explain as we're playing, mostly because I don't want to spend too much time on it. So they have these behavior cards, these 4. So they have defensive, expansive, victory, and aggressive. They always have 2 icons. This is either recruit or advance. So you just look at what it says, and if it's yes, it will say something. If it's no, it'll say something. All right. You just follow along, and then you know what to do. It's really straightforward. And each one of them has this, but I guess you can get away by just using 1 deck for both of them. Although sometimes you might have to refer back to what their state was at the end of their turn, I think. So maybe keep it separate anyway. Most of the time they won't be here. They'll just be next to me because it's much easier. And then this will decide what they do. So on a card like this, you'll always check, okay, this moves one of those storms. You look at which one is moved closest to whatever it says here. So for example, the storm, here's player priority. So now the storm closest to me would either go down or right, and it has to finish in a horizontal stance, right? So for example, this one could go like this. Okay, that's perfectly possible or legal. Then underneath, you see what's going to happen. Now you see these red arrows. Normally a new card is revealed, and then it will say which rows activate. So in this case, it would be this one and this one on the other card, right? But I don't want to reveal because I shuffled already. So let's say it's this row, right? E means expansive. So you look at the card, and then it says colonize. This is the icon for colonize. Now obviously they cannot colonize. They haven't left yet. So if it's a red line with an arrow, it means, okay, if you can't do this one, then do the next one. Okay, they'll recruit. And then if you look at recruit expansive, it says add units to the automatus colony closest to the most sectors it may colonize or invade. Now, if that happens, then we look, they recruit both units. So they will recruit an infantry and a light ship. So these 2, and they would get it in their colony. And then you look at the second action, which would be spend 1 influence and do the card action. It has a number 1, which means they would take the first card away. A new card would come out face down. If I play a card, it's face up. But when they do it, it's face down. So they're basically limiting my options. And then you look on the board and see what you're supposed to do. Okay, you just follow it. Also, at one point, they might start getting specific types of research technologies. Then they will unlock certain abilities. And the Delverar themselves, they already have an ability. But in this case, it's just start the game, you draw an artifact, and then anytime you remove an obstacle or an anomaly from the board, you place them there. And then depending on how many they have, the card action will do something. All right. Okay, and then the same goes for Boroka, of course. They have, when you remove any component from the board, add a ship to the sector you removed it from, or if not possible, to the nearest sector. So any components. So that can be like the units, can be the cards. You put it in the sector, if not possible, to the nearest sector. Okay. And they will, when they activate their card action, they'll be looking for how much influence they have. Okay, that's also probably part of the reason that they start with 2 already. And both of these, they check out the civic technologies to see what they might unlock. If they get military technologies, that will appear on their battle cards or tactic cards, which I'll explain when we fight. It's actually really straightforward. You just check, you just shuffle it, and then you reveal the first card. And then you check, okay, what can apply? Nothing can apply? Okay, I'll take the next one. You keep going until you find the card that applies to the troop composition, and you do it. It's not that difficult. They also get different bonuses. For example, if they do production, at one point they will, as you can see, they will add one of these cards to the discard, so they will have more turns. I'm playing on hard. That means they have 5 cards, and they already have one, both of them have 1 elite tactic in their deck as well. Sometimes the AI might do something silly or weird, but if they do, I house rule it a bit and I choose for them. Because it could perfectly happen that one turn they move here with the idea to colonize, and then the next turn they suddenly decide, oh, you know what? I want to go over here. And then this guy would move again, which normally I think would not make much sense. So I try to then not count them into the equation, unless maybe it makes sense, like one of their colonies gets attacked and they pull the units back. That will make sense. But if it's something else, then I will just simply house rule it. All right. They also don't have dice. They just get points the way I do, but they have a point track. Also, if their influence reaches number 6, they get an extra card. If it reaches 10, they get an extra card. But also at the end of the game, they get 2 victory points. Not the end of the cycle, at the end of the game. It's very important as well. All right. So I think we are just about ready to start. I went over everything, talked a little bit about the AI and so on. And for whoever starts as Watcher, I always look at one of these cards that I'm not using, and let's take a look at what the priority says. It says blue. That means Delverar will start as the Watcher, so the first player basically. So, okay, I guess we can get this going. Oh, before we start, I should give some more backstory. Okay, so I am Vax117, the Artificial Queen. We wanted to tackle life's greatest foe, death itself. The purpose of Vax was to develop methods of transferring consciousness, to preserve the Othelius collective consciousness beyond eternity, the ultimate evolution, transcendence. We were blinded by our goal. Carbon-based life forms are not compatible with consciousness updates. Vax program error. Original instances of Othelios are outdated and must be barred from consuming resources. Gradual termination approved. We have unlocked the gates of hell itself, created the harbinger of our own demise. In irony, we sacrifice our existence to destroy the menace we brought to the galaxy. Fragmented copies found on various subsystems all over Othelios. Decryption complete. Compiling. Vax systems are now fully operational. So, I have robotic infantry. As you know, I start with scientific colony. And my governments are central directive, which I didn't use, or meritocratic society, which I am using. One of my opponents is the Boroka, also known as the Legion of the Void. Life is a feast, so say the words of the great prophet. Our claws were made to rip the flesh of our enemies, our jaws to crush their bones. The path they follow we see as pure madness. They come to us searching for peace, understanding, and communication. Fools, all of them. We are the devourers, the legion of blood, the great predators, and we see them for what they truly are, prey. They think we are primitive, but only we understand the truth of creation, the beauty of life, and the scope of our gospel. And with every new feast, we paint that truth on a canvas of wrecked spaceships and scorched cities with ink made of the blood of the uninitiated. The void awaits us all. So they start with Imperial, right? Boom. And then we have the Delverar, the Forgotten Guardians. Our species. One species, one planet. The golden rule of the Federation. For generations, we have stayed true to that law long after the Federation had faded away. Our civilization was chosen as caretakers of ancient secrets, and we have played our part for countless eons. And where did it lead us? To a dying world, living according to rules written by forgotten emperors. We built a utopia around the teachings of an extinct empire, and now we seem doomed to repeat the mistakes of our forefathers. The old rules must be discarded, and a new path must be forged if we hope to survive. Maybe this was the true meaning of our duty, not to preserve the memories of the old Federation, but to rekindle the fire and resurrect it from the ashes. So they're scientific just like me. All right, so we can now get this party rolling. So let's reveal the first card of Delverar. All right, so first we look at the Storm. It is closest to red and goes down or left, but it has to stay up. So it cannot go down because it will clinch with this. So it can go left, so they'll do left. So that way they are blocking Delverar from going there. Moving the Storm does not have to be in their benefit. You just move it according to the rules. So yeah, down didn't work, so I had to go left. So that's what it is. Then they will do the V for victorious, and they will recruit. Now, I'm going to look for victory, but it just says add units to a besieged automata colony, or if there's none, to the colony close to the utopian sector. Obviously, they only have one, so it will go there. So it's going to be 1 infantry and 1 light ship. And their second action is defensive, and they're immediately going for the action. No, they're not. No. It's defensive. It says increase 1 influence. And when there's a yellow line, it means if you were able to do the first one, also do the second one. So they'll move the lightning storm again, and again, closest one to red. I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. We moved this one already. We'll move this one. So down like this. There we go. All right. Then we, that's them done. That's their first action in the books. I am happy they didn't do any research. Hopefully the Boroka will follow their lead. So first of all, they do their Storm, is the one closest to red and goes down or left and has to stay up. So this one is now closest, so it cannot go down or left. So it's going to have to be this one again. So down or left, so it has to be down like this. All right, so they really don't want me to go this way. It's pretty clear. So I only have the difficult ones in front of me, which is very annoying. All right, so then they do, it's basically the same card, isn't it? It is the same card. This happens to be the exact same thing. Are the arrows also the same? The arrows are also the same, yeah. It's just pure luck, I guess. Except no... I made a mistake already. Oh, They did this, or supposed to be the second one as well. They do one move for victory. So basically, it is, you ask the question, is the automata controlling the utopian sector? No. Is it in range? It is not, because they're blocked off. And they were blocked off already before they did the move. So it's not in range because they're going 1, 2, no, 1, 2, no, they cannot go through here. So then they say it's not in range, defensive behavior. Are there besieged colonies? No. Are there enemy space units? No. Expansive behavior. Can you transport infantries to a colonizable sector without automata infantry? Yes. So transport an infantry to a colonizable sector. And then look at the bottom, which one they prefer. They prefer money, and they can move 2 spots, right? Because they have the upgrade. So they'll take 1 ship and go over here. And they also reveal this. They remove it, actually. And because they removed it, they put it here. Now I'll show you what it was. Actually, can I? No, I cannot. I'll put it here because maybe they'll put it back on the board. So they're over there. And then because they only had 1 movement, it's only one of them that goes there. And then that is done. So then it was their turn. So they also recruit just like them. So it's going to be 1 troop and 1 ship. And they also move once. They also cannot reach here. So it's going to be exactly the same cycle. But they prefer also to go to a money colony that's empty. So they're going to go here. But they can only go 1. So they can't go for money. Yeah. So they go for the second one, Imperial. There's 2 of them. It's exactly the same. So I get to choose where. Well, I'm going to make them go here. Actually, you know what? No, I want them to fight. There. And then this is removed. It says when you remove any component, add a light ship to the sector you removed it from. So there we go. Yeah, I can take a look at this one because it doesn't affect that. So it would have been spend 2 influence, get 2 research, or kill a troop, an infantry. Now, for them, they just always remove it. They don't do anything with it. All right. Then the second one, they increase their influence by 1. They're at 3 now. And then they move the storm again, closest to them, down or left. So this one is now closer to them. So they'll move this down or left. They'll move it down like this. Yeah. All right. So that's their both turns. They're done. And it's me. So of course, the income phase, I get 3 credits. I want to do research, especially since that's cheaper for me. So I do 1 research. I don't want them to take it away. So I'm going to spend 2 coins, 2 research anyway. 1 to be able to put a colony right there. And then the other one, I need military technologies for the expansion. So I will. Which one? I'll go for orbital assault and then hopefully get it later. So I finished this. This goes back. So that was my first action. And then for my second action, I will advance. So I can move 2 ships 2 spots away. So I have 1 credit left. So 1 will go over here. And I'm revealing this. If I want, I could stop there, but I'm not going to. It says have 1 civic, which I have, and spend 2 influence, which I cannot, and then I can do that one. So I can't even do it, even if I wanted to. And then these 2 go here. And reveal. Okay, so this one means if I have a troop here at the start of the round, start of the cycle, I get 1 influence, an ancient gate, which is nice. Also, if we fight here, we both have to discard 2 random cards, which is more annoying for me because I think I'm just the only one that has to do it, to be honest, because I have to go through the cards to see which one I can already do, and then two might go away, like the retreat. But yeah, it is what it is. So those are my two actions. So I have one credit left. And then it is Delvarar's turn. Okay, so this means they're going to try to open up the way to the utopian sector. So basically they'll just do like this, flip it over, because they're always going to go to another point, right? In this case, now they have a clear path and also block their enemies a bit. All right, and then they'll do victory again. They'll colonize first, though, and colonize they will be able to do there. So they will build a productive colony there, which means they will add one of these cards to their discard. So next cycle, they will have more actions to do. So that was colonize. And then the second one is research, a military one. And they can do 2 research. Now, luckily, I can choose for them which one they research. And yeah, you know what? I'll be honest. Let's do the flip of a coin. If it's 1, it'll go here. If it's 3, it'll go here. So, boom, 1. So it goes where basically I am. So it takes it away. So now I'm here. At least I'm 1 towards a 3. And this was just turned over. It's a 2. I'm going to put it here. So from now on, if we have like a fight, I have to check the right side of the card here to see how much it requires. All right, so that's done. And that's the end of their turn. Yeah. So it did sabotage me somewhat. There's 2 cards left for them. All right, Boroka. I don't think I missed anything there. I didn't remove anything because it didn't move around. Oh, okay. Boroka, so they will move the storm closest to blue, left or up. So it's going to be this one, right? Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be up or left. It has to be straight. So it has to be here. So it's closed again for them. It's more difficult anyway. And then defensive, they're going to colonize. So we have the option there, research or imperial. They prefer research. Okay. No bonus there, but they're going to be more annoying when they research. They're going to take stuff away. All right, so that's done. And then the next one is they get another influence. So at 4 now. And they will move the storm again. So closest to blue, up or left. So both are basically doable. So I think they will, in that case, do try to block them like this. All right. So that's done then. My turn. So I have 1 credit left. I only have 1 influence. I haven't played any cards yet, though. So maybe I should look at the cards. I can trigger a battle resolution, but there's no battle going on anywhere. It's not really useful. Gain 1 for each type of colony you have on the board. I could get 2 influence, that's true. By just building 1. Yeah, so I'm going to colonize. Spend 1 credit. So I have to build the money, though. I need to have more money. So I'll build this one. And then for my second action, I'll play a card. Gain 1 influence for each type of colony you have on the board. I have 2 types. And then I can move a storm. So I get 2 influence, which puts me on 3. I can move a storm. I'll move this one up. There you go. Open this way for maybe later. Okay, so that is my turn, right? Yep, that is my turn. Oh, and a new card comes out. Impenetrable colony. During this cycle, your colonies require 1 extra enemy to be besieged. That's the disappointing card. It's not really something I can use, to be honest. Okay, Delvarar. Okay, so they're going to move the storm closest to themselves, up or right. So they can't go right. So you have to do like this. There we go. And then expansive. They will build units and then move once. So building for expansive is add units to the automata's colony closest to the most sectors it may colonize. So there's 2 sectors there. There's 3 here. Colonize or invade. So yeah, I'm going to put it there. Build up there. And then it is 1 movement, right? Can you transport infantries to a colonizable sector without automata infantry? Yes. They prefer military, which they have in 2 places. 3 places, actually. So they should choose whatever's closest to there. So I'm going to do the whole flip thing again. I think that works nicely. So if it's 1, it's there. If it's 3, it's there. Boom. Okay, so they go to the top. So up. There we go. So that's expansive. Then the next one, military research. Again. Well, so now they take this one too. So they're already at 4 military, which is really bad, I have to say. Because they're going to be very strong in fighting. And then they can move again. And this time it's victory. So they'll say, is the automata controlling the utopian sector? No. Is it in range? Yes. This time it is. Move to the utopian sector. Now, in the rule book, I always check, because I always forget, do they take ground units with them? They do not. No. So it's just ships. Yeah. So it's only moves once, and it has to take this one. So it's going to be 1, 2, it goes here. This is revealed. So 1 troop, same thing as we had before. This is also revealed. It is a tainted civilization. You may banish 1 non-productive colony from your empire board. But basically, you just take 1 of these, as long as it's not yellow, and you throw it away. That's it. So it's actually really good. I kind of want that, though, to be honest. Anyway, that is their turn. They're done. Then we have Boroka. Okay, so the storm closest to me goes right or down. So it's either down or right. I think they are both good or annoying, so I'm just going to skip it again. So 1 is right, and then 3 is down. 1. Okay, there we go. Oh no, it's not allowed. Sorry, it was like this. It's not allowed. It has to be like this or upwards. So like this makes more sense that they want to block this off. All right, and then it is colonized for them, which they cannot do. So they're going to recruit expansive, which is add units to the automata's colony closest to the most sector it may colonize, or invade, which will be here as well. So just looking at each other. Yeah. All right, and then the next one is lose 1 influence and then remove a card. So this card is removed, face down, and then we look. If your influence is less or equal to opponents, no, it's more than opponents, because I have 3, they have 2, but they have 3. Okay, so it is less or equal to opponents. Inflict 1 damage in each contested sector with 2 of your units. There are no valid sectors. Perform 2 movement orders instead. Gain 1 influence. So 2 movement orders, and it's aggressive. Uh-oh. So, are there enemy colonies not under the automata's control in range? Yes. Move to the closest enemy colony only if you can transport at least 1 ground unit. So basically, This one's gonna go here together with this one. There we go. Yep, that's it. So there's one ship that remains. It who remains. It that remains actually. Okay, so that's them done. All right, so basically those ships also pinned each other down, and also no ships can now be produced there. So this is on lockdown. It's a blockade. Okay. So I can still play a card. I can still do my government action, and I can still do research. I can do other stuff too, but I don't know if I want to pay for that. So I'll do my government action, which means that I can add one ship or ground unit to a sector. So I'm going to add a ground unit here. That's my government action, so I'll flip it to the red to signify that I've done it completely. And I think I'm going to do research and movement because I want to attack them here because I really want to do this. But first I'll do research. So that's 2 research. Should I just go full attack? Ground assault and orbital assault. Let me see. I'm going to do ground assaults and orbital assault as well. I'm looking at the research labs too. No, I'll just go these 2. So I get them. Put this away. So research is at 1. And then it is final turn of Delverar, which means they will stay watcher because after their turn they will automatically pass. So they will look at the storm closest to red, which is this one, and it will go down or left, and it has to be down or left. So okay, so it goes like this. Done. Then they will do victory as well, and they will produce units. So add units to a besieged automata colony. So because it can't recruit there, it'll recruit here. So that's once again a unit on this. And then it is victory and move once. Is the automata controlling the utopian sector? Yes. Then move to a sector required for scoring. So first mystery, but that is not required. Then biodiverse, which is not required either. Arid is required, so they're going to go there. So they're going to basically go to here. So this one's going to go here, and they're going to remove this. There we go. So they have 2 there now. Okay, and that is not the end yet. They increased their influence by 1. They have 3 influence now. And they move the storm again. So the storm closest to red goes left or down. So it's going to be this one, and it has to be like this. All right, then they're done. So they become watcher. And it's the final turn for Boroka. You're going to move the storm closest to blue. So Delverar, you're going to move it up or to the right. So up is not possible. Well, up is possible actually. To the right is not possible. So it has to be up and then like this. All right, and then expansive. So they'll put units in a colony closest to where they can which will be here. So once again, light ship and this. There we go. And then they move once. So they're going to try to go to a colony where they can colonize, and they want to have military. So they can move 2 spots, right? I do not see an empty military option anywhere. So then they'll go for the next option, which will be money. So sadly for me, they go all the way here. I also remove this. So whenever they remove a token from the board, they add a ship to wherever they put it. So yeah, they're multiplying. Yeah, I only have like 5 units. Look at blue and red; they're just swarming. Oh, it's not looking good. Okay, that's done. And then they are going to do science, but luckily all the science is gone, so they can't do science. If they can't do science, this victory, they're gonna recruit. No, they're gonna advance. They're gonna advance, and then if they can't do that, they're gonna recruit. But victory is: do they control the utopian sector? No. Can they get there? Yes. Move there. So they're gonna try to move 3 spaceships there. So this will be 1, 2. This is revealed. So if you have a ship there, you get 2 science. That's 1. This is 2. Now they have control. And then the 3rd ship will do a different rule because they have it already. Then they'll go for arid, which will then be 3. So these guys are going to be fighting each other all over the place, which is actually bad news for me because if they have a bunch of metals, I will not get influence. Okay. Even though I'm kind of like trying to set myself up a little bit, it makes it a bit more difficult. So then they get to do, they did it already, so they're done. That's the end of their round. So now it's me. I can still play 1 card. So I can go and fight somewhere and trigger the battle immediately, but it's just not really going to give me anything. So I was thinking of advancing to here, but they suddenly made it a lot more difficult with those 2 red ships. It's really dangerous now. But being able to manage that sector is really good. I think I'm going to go there anyway. Yeah, I'm going to advance. It just costs me 2 influence. Because I need to get at least... I could go crazy and take their capital. Try. Because I need to try to win 2 battles. If I win 2 battles, I can get that 1 influence. But then I'm stretching myself super thin. But my units are strong though. Okay, let's start doing this for sure. So it's going to be 1 and 2. And reveal this. So if you kill 2 ships and have a military technology, you get 1. That's crazy. Now the question is, do I want to move these guys to somewhere they can fight? Because I can move 2 steps. I can go here, and then if I win, I can raise it and get out of there, or I can just take it over, try to keep it. Okay, you know what? Let's go crazy. I'm gonna go here. There we go. And reveal this on the way. If you have a mech, you get science. Okay. All right. So then I can still play a card because that was my advance. Wow, it's going to be crazy. At the end of the sector, you can invade a colony, trigger a battle resolution, including siege in a contested sector of your choice, gain 1 medal. So basically, this means you get a medal and you can win a medal. So you get 2 medals at the price of 1. You know what? I'll do martial rivalry. Yeah, I'll do that. Trigger a battle resolution, including siege in a contested sector of your choice. And this comes out, that would have been really nice. Spend 1 influence to banish a sector, a military sector from your, or military colony from your board. Anyway, it's going to be this one. Trigger a battle resolution and gain 1 medal. So I already get 1 medal, regardless whether I win or lose. And then another medal here, and we're going to fight blue. We're going to fight Delverar. So I do have a upgraded ground assault and orbital assault. Okay, so I need to first see what I can do. So double ships, I cannot do orbital assault. Cannot do planetary strike. I cannot do heavy fire. I can do ground assault. That's upgraded, right? Yeah, with subkinetic rifles. Okay. I can do retreat, ground defense, orbital defense, and flanking. All right. So these are the cards that I can do. And he has 2 troops. So if it's troops, it's always a lot of running away and skulls. So if I do ground defense, he might run away. That's 0. I can also do ground assaults, but then he might make me run away, depending on whatever, because I still have to shuffle this, right? So, so basically, do I want to be defensive or not? I'm going to do ground defense, which is a bit weird because I'm attacking. So I'm going to do ground defense. And then I'm going to shuffle cards and see what comes out for them. So for each damage blocked by this card, the attacker suffers 1 retreat. So first card that comes out is ground defense. Doesn't apply because I need to have 2 guys or a mech, which doesn't apply. So then they'll do the bottom, which will be, they do have an upgrade. So they're going to do 2 retreat and 2 hits to me. So 2 retreat and 2 hits. So basically I'm just defending, I can defend 2 retreat and 1 hit. So they're going to hit me for 2 retreat and 2 hits. So 2 retreats are cancelled out. 1 hit is cancelled out. The other hit is absorbed by him. So he survives. And that's it. They run away because they get scared. And they go here. And I win. So I get another medal. And I can then choose to either replace it or raise it. I'm going to replace it. Might as well, because that gives me 2 science. So this is destroyed. Yep. So that gives me 2 science to immediately place, even though it won't activate yet. And technically I could put it here and that will be researched next round immediately. Or I think I'm going to do optronic computer. That means when I finish a research, I get 1 influence. Yeah. Okay. So I'll do that. That was nice. That was nice. So of course I pause now automatically. And then we will do the conflict phase. So in the conflict phase, we will first put medals everywhere that we're going to fight, and also put my cards away. And their card away. Whereas the rest of their cards, where did I put them? Here. Yeah. So I'm going to have to shuffle this again anyway. So I'll put it here for now. So medal here, and a medal over there. All right. So the Watcher gets to choose, first of all, to place, well, obviously the Watcher is going to place a unit. And depending on which unit they will place, they used to be, it has to be either a troop or a light ship. They have more troops than light ships, so they would do this that way. This is kind of house rule-ish, because that way they can still recruit as much as possible later on. If I made them take a light ship, they'll stop being able to recruit really soon. So they get a troop and they recruit it. They can put it wherever they want. But thinking for them, they should probably put it here to increase their odds of winning. All right, which of course is to my detriment, but whatever. Okay. Unless of course I follow what it says here, which is defensive, and then they would put it there. So I guess I should follow the tactic. There we go. All right, so they get to choose who fights first, and that is red because it's here. So red's gonna fight, and then the next color is me. So I guess we'll just all fight nicely in the middle here. So I'm gonna shuffle this deck for Boroka. And just for now, I'll put this guy here, put Boroka here. Then there's my deck, of course, which is the same composition as before, because it's the same people. So I'll put it here for now, even though I'm not choosing that card necessarily. And I shuffle here. Now the thing is, after each battle, I can take the cards back into my hand. With the AI, you do not. You just keep drawing until they run through all their cards. So obviously I have to choose first. And I'm going to do the same as before. Ground defense, because my guys are so strong. And then for Boroka, it'll be ground defense as well, but that doesn't apply. Oh, the bottom one applies. And then for Delverar, it's going to be ground assault, which also applies. So basically, both of them are going to be attacking with 3, and I'm going to be defending. So I'm defending. They are both attacking at the same time. Let's take a look at who Boroka focuses on. They're going to focus on red, as you can see. So they're going to do 1 hit and 1 retreat to them. Oh, but wait, Boroka can't do this because they have ships. They don't have ground units, so they're not going to do this. We need to have something with ships. I'll say this one then, 4. So they're actually last. So they're activated first. They don't shoot at me. They shoot at them. It is a hit and a retreat. And their research does nothing. They don't have enough. They don't have any research. So because they get hit, one of them dies and one of them retreats to here, closest to their colony. This never happens, but this stays here for later. And then mine doesn't happen either. So then it's the second round. So obviously I can't do ground defense again. I have to do something else. Well, I guess I'll just go on the attack and do ground assaults. And let's see what Delverar does. Okay, luckily they need to do this, and I can go first. I have to choose the most destructive option. I also have subkinetic rifles. So basically it is 1 skull and 3 retreats. Of course, the skull happens first, so it dies. Because in the rule book, it has a order of damage that you have to do. So first is massive damage, which is a nuclear, then direct damage, which is the target, then indirect damage, the skull, and then retreat damage. So if you can damage something, you have to do that first. Oh, I forgot one of my skills. Oh, I forgot all my skills for VAX 117. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll check that in a second. Anyway, I win, so I get this. And okay, I need to remember this, because anytime during my turn, I can check the content of any face down technology card, which I forgot. I only looked here. And then when I remove one of these things from the board, I can add 1 to one of the sectors you remove the component from. So I was supposed to have 1 extra guy. Wait, did I remove anything? I didn't remove anything, right? No, I didn't remove a single thing. So that would not have happened anyway. We remove 1 or more. Yeah, doesn't matter. Okay, anyway, let's do the next one. I'm out. I've done all the fighting that I need, and I for sure have the most medals of everyone. So that worked out very nicely. So here it is Delverar against Boroka, only ships. So let's see. For Boroka, no, does not apply. This defense applies, but I think he's just going to end up with another defense as well. Oh no, he has one ship. So his defense is 1, his attack is 1. So he hits with 1 target, but he blocks. But he does 1 target before card resolution because they have the research. So basically, he shoots him. So this is destroyed. And then he gets a medal. And then we fight over there. So there we have for Boroka 2 ships and 2 guys, which applies here. They're going to be doing heavy fire. And they have 2 ships and 3 troops. Delverar. 2 ships and 3 troops. Yeah, they're going to be using similar tactics. But they're 4 and they're also 4. So they shoot at the same time and they use the most damaging composition. So that should be the top one always because they get to choose who they kill according to the line, I think. It says even if you don't want to, you have to choose the most damaging composition. So I interpret that as the order of damage. So direct damage will be the highest for both. So both of them lose a ship and both of them do 2 hits. So 1 blue ship and 1 red ship. Now, because they kill the ship, it says whenever you remove any component from the board, add 1 to the sector you removed it from, or if not possible, to the nearest sector. Normally, when a unit is added, like for example, when you retreat and so on, you cannot retreat to wherever there's a battle medal. So as far as I know, for Boroka, you get a unit, but it's not in that spot itself. Otherwise, you could literally never win a battle. So I believe it will come here closest where it is. Okay, so actually Boroka doesn't get a ship for killing other people. It's only when they remove component, like no units. That was a misprint apparently. Okay, good to know. Okay, so both lose a ship and then they also do 2 damage each of them. And actually they, because of their research, they do 3 damage to them. So that's fairly easy. These 3 are all dead. And then 2 of these are dead. And if you look at the unit priority, they want their ship to go first and then their units. So 2 of them, right? So ship and unit. There we go. Ship and infantry, I mean. And they win. And this goes away. So basically Delverar won twice, mostly because of their technology, to be honest. All right, and then these go back, because all the fighting is now officially done. And yeah, then we will continue to check what has to happen. So there's no sieging necessary. That's okay. Claim medals, we did that. Prestige check, gain 1 influence for each opponent with fewer battle medals than you. So I have 3 and Delverar has 2. So I get 2 influence, so I'm at 5. Delverar gets 1 influence, they're at 4. And then Boroka gets nothing. Then is the Utopian reward. So it says you may banish 1 non-productive colony from your empire board. So I get to choose one of these. I'm going to go for the money, I believe. Because that will get me an extra credit and 5 to start. It'll give me 6 credits to start with. Even though I really need units, but I guess I can just build military stuff. Yeah, I'm going to banish this one. So that gives me 1 credit because of my bonus. And then with the income, I'm going to go all the way up to 6. So that's going to be nice. All right, then cleanup, flip all face down visible technologies. So for military, this one becomes during battle, anytime one of your mechs is removed from the board, replace it with a troop. That's pretty nice. Cybernetics program, banish this card to replace 2 tactics of your choice with their elite versions. That's also very good. Phase weapons, improve your heavy fire and ground assault tactics. The one that I've been checking is pulse artillery, improve your heavy fire tactic. So what it does to heavy fire is, quick check, pulse artillery, my mechs would then be able to just destroy something outright. Here, level 3 that comes out is reduce the government requirement of the influence requirement of your government action by 1. That's really good. That's really good. Okay, then next, deletion upkeep. So I have to pay 3, which I can easily do now. So I have 2 left. And determine the first player. So the watcher has to choose. So we'll shuffle these and then reveal to who they give it to. So Delver won a bunch of battles, but they did lose a colony. Well, their home base. So that's good. Okay, so the new one that comes out is they give it to red, which is good for me. Would have been better if it was yellow, but you know. So they give it to red. So they'll be first player in the next round. Then gain the number of credits indicated on your productive track. So for me, that's 5. So I'm up to 6, which is 3 more actions than the first cycle. Trigger exploitation areas. So I've got 1 guy here that gives me another influence. That's 3, which is good for my stuff. And then trigger any during income. There's nothing there. And then we can start a new round. Also, these cards go away. These cards go away. Oh, and 4 new ones come out. And that is patent sale. Banish one of your technologies to remove a lock from one of your basic actions or to gain 2 influence. That's pretty expensive. Promotion. Banish one of your medals to replace up to 2 of your ground troops with mechs from your reserve. That's pretty good. Although my ground troops are actually mixed. So overexploitation, gain the resources from an exploitation area. So from this, you control and then banish it and gain 1 influence. So basically in this case, if I did that, I get 2 influence, which is not very special. And then anti-matter tests, banish 1 empty sector except starting and utopian adjacent to your colonies. And then gain 3 science. So basically you explode something, you take it away, you just destroy it and you get 3 science. Okay, so we are now ready. Well, this has to be shuffled. But then when that is done, we are ready for the second cycle. And then after that, we score. So at the moment, the people who control imperial colonies is still just Boroka with 1. Nobody else controls anything imperial. Money colonies, I have 1. And Delverar has 1. And that's it. And then military science, I have 2. And Delverar has 2. And the final one, arid locations, arid sectors, that is Delverar has all of them. So, 2 of them, sorry. The third one is here. Yeah. But you need a mech to get rid of that. So, yeah, a lot has to happen in the final round to get some points. I did get 1 military point. I forgot to give it to myself. But yeah, I do get 1. So there's that. Okay. Now, I'm going to stop here because I'll record the rest tomorrow. And then add it all. Bye-bye.